All right, today we are diving into something really different. We're looking at a fascinating, almost industrial re-engineering of a timeless legend. We are exploring Henoch, the Prussian Faust, a version of that classic story built not on magic and morality, but on industry, bureaucracy, and the cold, hard logic of the machine.
I mean, think about it. What if the pact with the devil wasn't for ultimate knowledge or earthly pleasure, but for technology? What if heaven wasn't this realm of angelic choirs, but a cosmic military headquarters? Well, that's the central question behind Henoch, a version that takes the whole Faustian bargain and recasts it for the machine age.
So how in the world does this story pull that off? Well, it uses this really cool concept called structural synthesis. See, the creators didn't just retell the story. They took the dark, really cautionary tone from the very first Faust book back in 1587 and fused it with the deep, philosophical wrestling you get from Goethe's famous version. And what comes out is something else entirely, a powerful allegory for our industrial world. It's a story that uses myth to talk about our anxieties with state power and total mechanization. And this chart, wow, it really lays it all out. The original Faust, right? He's a damned magician. He's sinned, he faces eternal punishment. Simple. Goethe gives us this romantic hero whose endless striving, his Streben, is what ultimately saves him. But Henoch, he's a whole different animal. He's an ethical scientist who thinks he's trying to save humanity. And his fate isn't damnation or redemption in any way we'd recognize. It's integration. And trust me, as we're about to see, that might be the most chilling outcome of all. Okay, let's start right where the play does, the prologue. Because right out of the gate, it just completely flips the script on the classic Faustian setup. We are not in some warm, light-filled heaven. No, we are entering the iron heaven.
The contrast here is just night and day. Goethe's heaven has these sunny spheres, angels are singing about nature, it's all pretty relaxed and conversational. Henoch's version is the tonal and theological inverse. It's called the Crystal Chancery, and it's basically a celestial military headquarters. The whole vibe is tense, cold, and just suffocatingly bureaucratic.
I mean, just imagine that. Not a realm of divine warmth, but a terrifying bureaucracy of living fire and ice. The Lord himself is this silent, imposing figure you can't even see, hidden behind lightning. The real action is a debate between his chancellor, Metatron, and the rebel leader, Samyaza, who's basically questioning humanity's entire place in the cosmos. So, of course, the big wager itself completely changes. Goethe is asking a moral question. Can a good man be tempted and led away from the right path? But Henoch, it poses a systemic one. It's a trial of corruption. The question is whether humanity's divine spark can even survive exposure to the cold, indifferent gears of the universe. It's not a test of one man's soul anymore. It's a trial for all of humanity's very existence. And now we get to meet the man at the center of this storm, Henoch. The first part of the play zooms in on his personal story, his tragedy, and you see right away his motivations are all about technology, not romance or some vague curiosity.
So we find Henoch in his Gothic study over in Berlin, but he's not mad about the limits of human knowledge in general. No, he's frustrated by the physical limits of science. So he turns to the forbidden book of Enoch, not for personal power, but because he wants the keys to creation itself. He's driven by a pure, unadulterated technological obsession.
And this is what makes him so different. He's an ethical scientist. The classic Faust sells his soul for women, wine, and song, worldly pleasures. Henoch makes his pact for a much higher purpose. He wants the keys to the stars because he truly believes this forbidden tech is the only thing that can save humanity. The pact itself is basically a cold business transaction. He seeks forbidden truths, he makes a deal with this fallen watcher, Azazel, and what does he trade his loyalty for? Not magic. He trades it for modern, dangerous technology, specifically the advanced sciences of astronomy and metallurgy. It's an industrial exchange, plain and simple. Now, every Faust story has its Gretchen tragedy, that innocent woman who gets destroyed by his ambition. Here, her name is Sophia. But she isn't ruined by seduction or social shame. Her destruction is a catastrophic consequence of Henoch's work. She's literally destroyed by being exposed to the alien light of his forbidden science. You have to think of it less like a moral failing and more like a horrific industrial accident. Okay, so in the second half, the story just explodes. It goes from the personal to the political, and just like Goethe's Part 2, the scope becomes massive, it's allegorical, and it details the rise of what the text calls a dark Prussia, a truly chilling vision of a world completely consumed by industry.
So instead of touring the fancy courts of Europe, Henoch gets taken on a journey through the cosmos itself. He sees the foundries where the stars are made, the storehouses of the winds, and he has this terrifying realization. The universe isn't some beautiful, harmonious creation. It is a mechanical, dissonant machine.
So who's running this New World Order? The Nephilim. And in this version, they aren't some mythical race from the Bible. Oh no. They are artificial giants. They are the aristocratic of iron, and they become the new ruling class. They're the literal embodiment of this new industrial power.
I mean, the allegory here is crystal clear, right? The rise of these giants and their industrial empire is a direct metaphor for the violent displacement of nature, of tradition, by the industrial takeover of the ancient world. It's tapping into these really deep anxieties about mechanization and authoritarian power.
And the story's climax, the Great Flood, it gets reframed in the most chilling way you can imagine. It is not a moral judgment from an angry God. It's a logical purge. It's a cold, calculated decision made by the Crystal Chancery to correct what they see as the biological error of the Nephilim. It's extermination as a bureaucratic solution.
So after all of this, what happens to Henoch? The ending throws out the simple damnation of the original story, but it also deeply twists Goethe's idea of redemption into something far more unsettling.
The play actually stays true to Goethe's philosophy of Streben, of striving. Phylock isn't damned for his pact or for all the chaos he unleashed. In a strange way, he's saved because he relentlessly strove. He never gave up, even when he was wrong, and in the end, he rejected the nihilism of his demonic patrons.
So his final transformation follows this really clear path. You have his constant striving, you add his ultimate rejection of the Watcher's destructive worldview, and that leads not to a pardon, but to assimilation.
And here it is, the final, brilliant, horrifying twist. Henoch isn't just led into heaven. He is translated. He evolves into Metatron, the celestial scribe, the very same chancellor of the iron heaven we met way back in the prologue. His reward is to become a literal part of the divine bureaucracy he once tried to challenge.
Which leaves us with this massive question, doesn't it? Is merging with the system you fought, becoming a gear in the very cosmic machine you sought to understand and master, is that a reward? Is that salvation? Or is it a far more subtle and maybe more terrifying damnation than hellfire could ever be?